Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Abrazo Football Podcast. Brooks and Blaine in the place. And we're going to start things off this week talking about the club that everybody had been teasing for the last handful of weeks, months. They've called them broke. They've called them shells of themselves. They told them they would never sign another player because they can't pay the wages of the players that they already have. Obviously, we're talking about Football Club Barcelona. Recently signed Robert Lewandowski, Rafinha, Andreas Christensen, Frank Kessie, and the list goes on, and they still got work to do. Brooks, first and foremost, what do you think? Well, I mean, yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Is it like, so I think we've been a part of the problem. We had teased Barcelona in the past, criticize their decisions. And I feel like to a certain degree, I'm still somewhat critical of their decisions to like sell off all of these assets and like percentages of their rights and all of these other things just to ensure that they stay competitive. Because in reality, it's not like they weren't that competitive last season. They made those signings in January and they came from like fourth or fifth to come up to second place. They weren't ever going to catch Real Madrid, but I personally don't think they needed to spend, like, go this insane to get, back into a position where they were competitive. But what are your thoughts on all these transfers, and are they making the right decisions? Should they have bet it all? Or yeah, just give us your
I mean, that's
thoughts.
a good point because they really did probably. It's almost like they're just kind of like overcompensating a little bit. It's like, no, 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 like we're fine. Like we have, this is like, like we'll show you how good we are. And they just like keep spending, spending, spending. Because yeah, I mean, in the reality is like they picked up Aubameyang in January and I don't even know who else really that last season. I guess Adama Traore. Like they had a couple like signings and they were fine. They ended up in second place, which good, like something you can build off of, right? But like finances aside, I'm just like as a Barca fan, it's very exciting. And so, we're talking about Lewandowski, one of the best strikers ever. I mean, in the history of the game currently, at least. Obviously already have Aubameyang, picking up Kessié, who's like just like such a dominant force in the midfield, which is really a huge thing that they were missing out on the last couple of years. Like Sergio Busquets is just kind of like, in my opinion, he's got to
Yeah.
go. But I get how great he is and like he's a legend, but he's just kind of old and aging, and especially in like competitions like the Champions League, like Frank Kessié is going to be amazing to have. But I'm really like, if the reports are true and that they are like a photograph away from or announcement away from signing Jules Koundé, that's like they could compete in like any tournament right now. Yeah, for you that's terrible, but it's just kind of worrying times for Chelsea. I don't know, we won't get that much into it current at the moment, but it's a really good time to be a Barcelona fan if you just forget about the finances.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if you forget about the finances, they now have two teams, basically, at least from an attack perspective and partial midfield perspective, enough players to compete in every competition and win
Yeah,
every competition. Assuming they don't send anybody packing. Like, if Memphis doesn't leave,
yeah,
they're still, like, Ferran Torres, they re signed Dembele. Ansu Fati's back,
yeah.
like all of this stuff. It's like they're like, yeah, and like all we can touch on the Jules Koundé part because like I understand like if I'm a player and I was considering going to Chelsea, and then Barcelona's like, hold on, wait a minute, we want you. Rafinha, for example, yeah, no good. I'm gonna go to Barcelona. It's like if I had the choice, if I'm being honest, I'm going to
Even you
Barcelona.
personally?
Like first off, me
Okay.
personally, yeah, if I was Jules Koundé and Chelsea was like, hey, we want you and we'll pay you like whatever it is, like 9 million a year. And Barcelona's like, you know what, we're broke. Now we're still making jokes, but we can pay you, 7. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Barcelona. I'm definitely going to go to Barcelona. And the main reason, and this can segue, so over the weekend, Arsenal played Chelsea in like Florida for like some Florida Cup or something or another. And they got demolished. Arsenal absolutely destroyed them. So if I'm looking at that Chelsea team, I'm thinking they're still not really scoring goals. They can't defend. despite Koulibaly, who they didn't bring on until there was like 15 minutes left and the damage was done. So I'm like, would I really want to join this dysfunctional, toxic Chelsea team that players are like fleeing from? Like Timo Werner basically said he wants to leave. Romelu Lukaku was like knocking the door down to get out of there. I mean, the more I watch Chelsea, I'm like, maybe it's not the best place to be. Maybe I don't want to play at Chelsea. Maybe Raheem Sterling made a huge mistake to go to Chelsea. He should have went to PSG. So anyway, I don't know, man. Like, I don't think Chelsea. Like, if you've been watching Chelsea in this preseason, like, I feel like as a player, you would probably opt to go anywhere but Chelsea, including Arsenal like anywhere. Like I would go anywhere but Chelsea at this point. Like I would not want to be a part of this process. Like Man U looks better than Chelsea at this point.
Dang. I mean, yeah, it's a good point because also like they're not really they're talking it's like they're talking more about players that are leaving or have left than talking about potential signings. It's like all these players that are already leaving are like slated to leave still, like the Marcos Alonso's and Azpilicueta's. Like that's on top of obviously Lukaku that's already gone, Rudiger who's already gone, and they're not really talking about many people to come in and take their place. And each person that they talk about to come in to take their place, Barca steals them. So yeah, it's kind of I would imagine it's a tough time to be a Chelsea fan. However, I mean, it is preseason, but it feels really good to be an Arsenal fan again. So that I know it's only preseason, but they do look so good. At least I don't know. I'm just excited. They look amazing. Also, Jules Koundé is already playing in Spain, so I don't know if that's something that maybe a lot of those players like Spain, like the league. They know it. They're comfortable with it. He's still super young, so maybe he's just going to stay there a couple more years. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Give it a choice. I mean, I've never been to Sevilla, but I've been to London and Barcelona several times, and I mean, London. I love London, but Barcelona is my favorite city.
Oh, is it your favorite city?
In Europe, I would. Yeah. Oh yeah. By far, I would definitely rather play.
Yeah.
Like, for Barcelona
in
Barcelona than go play in London. And also just knowing like that you're walking into like a situation that's already pretty toxic. And maybe it's because I read more British media, but like, if you aren't performing at like 150%, you're about to get slandered and abused and your name run. It's like, I don't need all that stress and drama. I'm good.
Right.
Like, and then like go deal with like I think Thomas Tuchel said after Arsenal spanked him, which Gabriel Jesus, by the way, just looks so good. Like he's scoring, like he's
just playing with them out there.
The point being, yeah, he's having fun and making it look easy. And Thomas Tuchel said, Chelsea are not ready and most likely will not be ready to compete when the season starts in 2 weeks. And I'm like, I don't know if this is like him sending a message to ownership saying like we need to start buying players, but like you said, like all your identified targets are going to Barcelona.
Yeah.
They're all going to they don't even want to come here. And like for Jules Koundé, another thing, and this is where I also feel like if I was him, I wouldn't do it. So Chelsea wanted to buy him last summer, and it didn't work out.
Oh.
Then what do Chelsea do this summer? They go and they're like, we want Koulibaly, we want Matthias de Ligt. They're like looking at all these other defenders. In meantime, Jules Koundé is like, I thought you guys wanted me. And then after Matthias de Ligt doesn't work out, they're like,
now we're coming for you.
Now we want you. And he's like, you know what? You're struggling now. I see you getting beat by like tying with MLS teams and losing to Arsenal. Maybe I don't want to help you. On second thought,
that's a good point. I'm
not gonna go there. Yeah, and because it's like these players, like they read the tabloids. They're on Instagram. They see what Bleacher Report and like 433 and all these places are saying, and it's also clear to them. It's like you were trying to sign other defenders, and you told me I was your number one priority, and like now you're coming to me like late July. Nah, I'm good. So that's all. I mean, I don't really have much more to say about it except, yeah, Chelsea's in a terrible position, and yeah, after losing 4-0 to Arsenal, I don't think anybody would even consider going there, knowing that anyone that Chelsea would go for, there's other teams that would also go for those players. And
it's just hard because, I mean, I'm not a Chelsea fan, but it's just a crazy thing to see as like a soccer fan in general who's followed it, for years and years and years. And it's almost like, I mean, during the Roman Abramovich era, there was never a problem picking up who you wanted. You know, it was like, I want this guy. And they were like, all right, cool, we're in. Prior to the Roman Abramovich era, it's almost feeling like it's going back to that. They're like, oh, this is really just Chelsea again. So obviously, you know, that's a drastic, extreme example of it, but it does feel like they just don't have, I don't know, whatever it takes to pull players in, to lure players into that club. And I just like, I feel like there's something that we don't know about because it's happening with like a lot of players. Like, what, I don't know. I mean, I get that you want to go and experience something new, like Rudiger, and if you can go to Real Madrid, then you know that's pretty amazing. But some of these top tier Chelsea players are just like not even wanting to stick around. So yeah, it's kind of worrying times from the outside looking in. But yeah, as an Arsenal fan, who do you think?
Well, I can tell you what it
it?
is. I can tell you what it is. Well, first off, the sanctions didn't help, right? The sanctions didn't help. You know, people are like up in the air what's going to happen. Second, it's like when you get a new boss. It's like I loved the old boss.
Yeah.
Now I got a new boss. I don't know this guy from a can of paint. I've won everything. Like I've won the pinnacle of awards here at Chelsea.
Yeah.
Why stick around? Like why stick around long enough to like watch my legacy be
That's
tarnished?
true.
Like
That's a good point.
the club has become pretty toxic in my
Yeah.
opinion. It's like multiple players feuding with the coach, mad at him.
Yeah.
Parents feuding with the coach, mad at him. You know, players being sold off, players trying to leave, players not giving it their all. It's like, do I really want to be caught up in this, or would I rather go play in Madrid or Barcelona, where, you know, things, at least right now, aren't very toxic, and I'm probably going to continue to bolster my legacy by winning something.
Right.
It's a 50-50 chance I win La Liga.
Right.
And I'm like 1 for 4 out of winning the Champions League, and then there's a few other cups that I'll be in. So it's like, it's like no one knows Todd Bowley. Like, we don't owe him anything. Like, I'm going to go ahead and go. And then for like players coming in, it's like you got this new American guy. There's no sporting director. He's just kind of like baptism by fire, trying to figure out how to sign players. And he's like a novice. So it's like,
Yeah.
he's showing all his cards, and then the players are just like, this is what they're giving me. Can you, like, what can you do for me? And it's like, because I don't really want to play for him. I would rather play for you. And like the coach, I mean, also, I feel like the coach is like, when you, like, I hate to say it, but like you, like as a player, I feel like you would look at the way the Romelu Lukaku situation went down, and you're like, as a player, I think you're going to side with a player. Wrong or right, you're going to be like, whether I was wrong or right, I wouldn't want to go through that. And that's a coach that is going to put me through that. So, like, and then, like, you hear, like, you heard Timo Werner. Like, if Timo Werner's talking, like, they're from the same place.
However, I will say that the Tuchel does have a point for being like, it kind of sounded like he was like, well, Timo's not really good enough to be on this Chelsea squad anyway, so if I were him, I'd be the happiest boy in the world. That's kind of how I took it. He was like, this dude's talking, like, this dude's running his mouth right now, but in all honesty, like, if I was here, he wouldn't have, you know, made it to the team anyway. That's just kind of how I interpreted it. I don't know how you did, but
that's exactly how I interpreted it. But as a player, do I want a coach that's brazen enough to tell the world that I
not good enough
should be so grateful to be here because I'm not
right.
good enough? That's like, yeah, there's things that are self-evident. Like, you don't, as a coach, you would think, okay, I don't need to say that.
Right.
I mean, I just feel like it's like is your ego so small as a coach that you need to come back and like fight with your players because then they're like, you know, you could just not play them, you could just sell them, but now you're gonna now you've embarrassed multiple players publicly, and it's like, yeah, like what you said isn't a lie, like you've told no lie, but that's not that's not going to help you convince other players to come. In my opinion,
no, I'm with you.
That's how I feel. It's like.
Yeah, I mean, people see how...
It's like, if I knew a guy wasn't...
No,
I was going to say, if I knew a guy wasn't good enough and shouldn't be playing at a club, I was like, that's fair. But, like, if the coach was like, yeah, this guy isn't good enough, he shouldn't be here, it's like...
Yeah, but also, Tuchel keeps playing him. He's like... he was starting over Lukaku pretty much week in and week out.
Because we don't have any other options.
Yeah.
It's because we don't have... It's because Rafinha didn't come. It's because we don't have any options. It's like the options. It's like that's how bad it is. Like if the coach is saying he shouldn't be here, but the people that he isn't playing aren't good enough either. It's like that's just an indictment of how how poor Chelsea have become, at least in the preseason. But they might figure it out. I doubt it.
So then, do you think,
I
as a
highly doubt
Chelsea fan, that they will finish above or below Arsenal, just based off of like the last 4 weeks that we've seen these games? Like, what are your thoughts?
it. Realistic. I mean, in all honesty, they could probably. I mean, I don't know. It's for me it's 50-50 because it's like do actually no I'll just say Arsenal at this point Arsenal will finish above them
Yeah, just
because I would say even if they could beat everybody like below them, it would come down to the head to head, and based off of what I saw over the weekend, Arsenal would at least win one, draw one, which would put them above them in points, assuming they both lost to Manchester City
Liverpool
and
yeah.
Liverpool. So of their other 36 games, I think Arsenal would slightly have the edge currently.
Yeah.
Dare you disagree?
I mean, it is still early, and I'm obviously apprehensive because it's still preseason. And I don't want to like get overjoyed over some pretty much games that don't mean anything. But they do just look amazing. It's like there's this energy inside of them that I haven't seen in a long time, and it's just. And as an Arsenal fan, yeah, it's really good to see it. So yeah, based off of preseason, Arsenal look like one of the best teams in Europe. But I know that when the regular season comes, obviously it's going to be, much different. But I just hope that they make top four. But yeah, man, it's interesting. Like I do think, just to finish off the Chelsea thing, like I also think that when you look at clubs owned by Americans, maybe with a bit of an exception toward Liverpool, it doesn't bode well. Like the future doesn't, or the past doesn't really have any great examples of Americans running these clubs highly successfully and winning trophies year in and year out, like Abramovich did. He was just like, it was less of a business to him and more of like, this is a game. Like, let's just win these games and these tournaments and these, with Americans.
It's not a business, exactly. It's about pride.
Yeah. So they probably see that too. And they're like, I see how bad Arsenal's struggling, or Roma now, or, it's just like, these American owners kind of haven't put a great example forward of what could be. But finally, it's changing now for at least the looks of, Liverpool, obviously. Arsenal look like they're kind of on the road to some silverware success, but might be a while till Chelsea do that same thing.
Yeah, we'll see. We shall see. Okay, well, let's move on. Let's move on from the Premier League and Chelsea and Arsenal and all that good stuff, and let's just finish off by quickly recapping what happened in El Clasico in Las Vegas. First off, going into the game, so this is the new and improved Barcelona. Who did you think was going to win in this match?
Well, the last game I saw Madrid play was the Champions League final, so I was like, if they play anything like that, Madrid is winning this game. These guys are new. Barcelona, the signings are pretty new, so they haven't really had a ton of time to mesh and gel well. So I was like, I think Madrid is probably going to win this game. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't realize that Karim Benzema didn't travel with him. So until I came to that realization, I was like, they're probably going to win. And watching the game, I thought it was close. I mean, I mean, it was a close match, except for one minor detail. If you read the headlines, Madrid had 0 shots on target.
Yeah.
1, and then a Rafinha, top corner
that was
wonder goal. Bro, I'll tell you one thing. This is the difference. Rafinha, did you see the interview where he was like, yo, man, I can't wait to be in El Clasico. I can't wait to score goals against Madrid because Madrid sucks. Like, he was talking crazy. And I was like, okay, he has to back this up.
Yeah.
The first time he got a chance, he tore him a new one. And I was just like, okay, well, that's... dude, I'm getting his jersey. I'm such a fan. If I wasn't a fan, dude, this is my take on Rafinha. I'm like, he was at Leeds, he's all humble. He's he looks like a nice enough guy. The minute he signed to Barcelona, like a switch flipped. You can't tell him nothing. He got the hats on. He got the chains, the big diamond earrings. He's like, you know what? I'm a superstar now. He's talking crazy in interviews and newspapers, and then he puts on the performance. I'm genuinely happy for Rafinha. Like, this is the epitome of a Brazilian. You know what I mean? Like, The flair, the style. I mean, maybe you don't like him. I don't
No,
know.
no,
I'm not
no.
gonna put that on you. Okay.
It was amazing. I mean, there are some things that I don't like to see, like a 20-year-old Vinicius Jr. trying to teach PK a lesson or whatever, But like this dude,
Yeah.
you're right. Like he obviously has humility because we saw this in Leeds. So he's not just like a
Yeah.
young kid who's going to run his mouth and not be able to back it up. This dude came out firing. This was like that. I think I texted you. I was like, "Yo, this." There's no way that this should have been his first goal for the club because this was just if there was no net behind it, it would still be traveling. He had so much power behind that. The placement is perfect. Yeah, he's backing it up. What he's saying, like, I mean, that's like gives you chills. I'm just excited for things to start in the regular season because this team looks so
Yeah.
good right now.
Yeah. It's gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be a good season for FCB this year and next year. They got like they gotta succeed. They have to succeed.
And they're kind of set up for the
They've
future
gotten.
too, Like I feel like you brought up a great point with no Benzema, they couldn't get a shot on goal. Madrid has to figure something out because this dude's, what, mid-30s now, getting up
Yeah. They
there.
got. Yeah.
Yeah, they got to get.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess their thought was Mbappe, but they now have to,
Yeah.
go in on some sort of guy who can score goals. Because if Benzema's not playing, I mean, it feels like they don't have a ton of options for.
They got to take Ronaldo back. They got to take Ronaldo back, man. They don't want to, but if they want to be successful, they might have to
Honestly,
split the
you're
time up.
right. You're right. Especially if he's
They're gonna
talking about
have to
going to
bring the
Atletico
man
Madrid.
back. Yeah, they're just gonna have to bend the knee. Maybe this is the Ronaldo exit strategy. Tell him he's gonna go to a competitor.
Yeah.
Because he told Man U, I'm going to go to Man City. Like, okay, hold on, I think we can work something
That's a
out.
good
Now he's gonna tell
point.
Madrid, I'm gonna go to Atleti, and they're gonna be like, hold on, we can work something out. Don't just hold your horses. Let us get you a contract tonight. So yeah, watch the space.
Yeah, but even in the long term, like even in a year or two from now, they'd still have to figure something out because those guys are. I mean, their Ronald was 37. But yeah, I think that's actually a
Yeah,
good point. Like, yeah, just bring him back for one season while you try to like reevaluate and bring in a young striker who can score goals. The problem is like young strikers just signed. PSG extended his contract. Obviously, City got Holland,
yeah,
so it's not a ton out there in the striking
yeah,
category. But
yeah. There's not a lot of options. I mean, they could. I think they could go get uh, what's his name? Victor Osimhen from.
yeah, Napoli.
Is it Napoli? Yeah, it's probably. Even, I don't know if he's a true striker. If he's more of like a winger or something, but I think he's young enough. Maybe Victor Osimhen.
And they didn't get Nunez, who they
He's
wanted to.
23.
Oh, he's 23? Jeez,
Huh?
that guy is young.
Yeah, he's a kid still, man.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah,
an
that's a good
option for
idea.
him. But he's linked to Arsenal
I mean,
apparently,
he's been linked, but
according to Google.
they also value him at like 70 something million, and it's not Arsenal money, so that's Madrid money.
Yeah, that's Madrid. They got it. Cool. Well, Brooks, sorry, I think that probably does it for this
Cool.
week. I think we actually have some official matches coming up this weekend though. I think there's a community
Oh, that's
shield or
right.
something,
And
right?
yeah, there is a community show, and an Emirates
I
Cup also, or is that nah, maybe a week later. But yeah, I think the Community Shield is this week, right?
um
I mean, Emirates Cup is not official
yeah.
either, but maybe not official, but Community Shield would be cool.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe it's Saturday the 30th. Either way, I'm pretty sure it's because the season starts. But yeah, so at some point this weekend, that's definitely gonna happen. We just don't know exactly what day. But so yeah, we'll have some like actual real stuff to report on, and hopefully more transfers.
Yeah.
We'll cover
Evidently,
that.
Arsenal's not
But
finished.
yeah,
Chelsea better not be finished.
yeah, yeah, exactly. All right, well, guys, thanks for checking us out this week. We appreciate you, and we'll catch you in 7 days. Peace.